Hello, everyone, and welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone. We've got actually two top 20 decks for you today. We've got 4 decks in total. W is back. If you don't know who that is, stay tuned. You'll find out. We've got more ways to win a season pass in this video, so very much more. Before we get started, though, we gotta announce something big. See how it says $300 prize on that there slide for the Snap Grand Prix April 27th tournament? Nah, we're doing $1,000 in prizes. This is the biggest, as far as I'm aware, completely free to play, open to the public Marvel Snap tournament ever. Enter. You never know if you're going to win. It is taking place 4/27 and 4/28. That is next frickin' weekend. 7 days away, 6 days away, whatever. Join if you would like to. You need to join the Snap Judgments League Discord, and if you need all the how-to, Snap Tactics Gunny T has a YouTube video explaining everything you need to do right on his YouTube to sign up. We also, for the $1 Patreon, to enter most of our tournaments, not the Grand Prix, but most of our tournaments, we run regular King of the Hill tournaments. So if you want Marvel Snap competition, you can get multiple small tournaments weekly to try out your hand, to practice, to get better with some really great players. And Snap Judgments League Season 2 signups are open. If you'd like to join, we already have over 100 people joining this league. We are no longer doing, well, we're still doing the pods of like 30 people, but we're doing a cut in the pod. So if you lose early, you're not done. We heard your feedback. That is $1 Patreon required. And that's literally just so we don't take a complete freaking haircut in terms of paying out our prizes. But we're going to have, guess what? Huge prize support for that. Again, prices are going through the roof with our new sponsor. Get yourselves ready. If you want more information on that sponsor and everything else involving these leagues, I need you to check out tomorrow's video. This video is just us getting the information out there, so you're ready. Tomorrow we will have so much more for you. But now we have our first deck, W's Doomball. The great W has returned to Marvel Snap. W is one of the best and most influential players ever in the game. I'm going to explain to you who he is very quickly. If you've heard the words Doomwave together, W fundamentally invented that in the game. It was a deck that used to run like old Deathwave, and if you don't know what that is, then, well, you're newer at the game, but that's fine. Where you played Wave, where Wave only allowed you to play one card at the end of the game, and then you played, you passed, and then you could play She-Hulk and Doom on the last turn for a massive amount of power, and then he continued to iterate on that and various other decks. He's also broken the meta several other times. A couple seasons back, around the Ms. Marvel season, there was a deck that was called Guardians. It ran like 2 Guardians, but it was a Guardians lockdown deck with Ms. Marvel that W invented. He also created the Thanos control list that dominated the meta last summer. He constantly shows up and just shakes up the meta, and this is the current deck that he has put out, and it's winning an absolute ton. All right, you can find W at twitter.com/W_MarvelSnap. Kitty, Hope, Ravonna, and Cannonball are all required. I know that makes this reasonably expensive, but if you bought Hope, Kitty and Ravonna are Series 4, and then just, I hope you got Cannonball. I don't know what else to say. Alioth can be Red Hulk, Shang, or Magneto. Alioth is great here, but not super pivotal. Jeff can be Medusa or Scarlet Witch, but with Professor X, Jeff is really great. Jeff is really great in most decks. Ms. Marvel can be Omega Red. It's worse and changes the play patterns, but hey, it is a replacement you could make. All right, so far, this is a 64% win rate deck. Because W is a big deal, this will have a real sample size very soon, and because W decks always work, it will maintain a really high win rate. Turn 1, Nightcrawler over Kitty. Kitty is nice, but she's sort of extra here. Turn 2, Ravonna over Angela over Jeff. Turn 3, I tend to prefer Ravonna over Hope, and that's better than Angela and a 1. Turn 4, it's Professor X or Hobgoblin over Ms. Marvel. It's a general rule. If you can get a save Professor X off, you should. Turn 5, Professor X or Hobgoblin. You guessed it again. If you can do that with a 1-drop, so much the better. You can also play, if you got the Ravonna, you can also go Angela and Professor X, and that's the Professor X will trigger Angela, so at least there's that. And then if you drop Jeff on that after the fact, that will trigger Angela again. Turn 6, Alioth over Cannonball is generally better than Ms. Marvel and Jeff. It's generally better than Doom. That's all iffy, though, and will depend on the board and what you think your opponent's going to do. This deck gives your opponents a lot to have to play around, and is extraordinarily powerful. Last look at the deck before we move on. 2, please hit that sub, like, and comment button. I'd really appreciate the extra support for the channel of you watching as long as you can, subbing, liking, commenting. Letting the YouTube algorithm know to show these videos to more and more people would be a great benefit to us. Cool? If you're willing, please do check us out. we'd appreciate it. We also do more and bigger giveaways than anyone in Marvel Snap. The one that's currently going on, you have to leave a comment on every video. From last Wednesday to this very video that you're watching right now, each video will carry a winner from the comment section. I will pull the winners I actually think it's going to be Tuesday's video because I have to record Monday's video early. It's Snap Judgments League gameplay right up to the finals. So the comment you have to leave today is actually after Deck 2. I have a thing to discuss that I want to discuss, and then after Deck 2, you'll leave the comment there relating to that in order to win. Each day has had a different comment that you can leave in order to potentially win that season pass. If you already have the season pass, that can be the gold pass. We've given away a ton of gold passes. It's all over Twitter, all over content. Check previous videos. The only one that hasn't been announced and hasn't happened yet is Tucker is giving his away on Monday on stream. So his Monday night stream will be the last of the gold pass giveaways, at least for now. There will be more to come, as there always are here on Snap Judgments. All right, questions of the day. Jason Salazar wants to know why it's suddenly harder to reach Infinite. I heard a theory that I really like. I don't know how accurate this is. No one's going to answer me internally for second dinner for this. But the theory I heard was it's always easiest to gain that first 30 ranks. They feed you a lot of bots in the first 30 ranks. And then once you're past that 30 rocks, you basically get no bots and are always playing players, which makes things extremely sweaty. So if you get to 100, you're playing bots most of the way to 100. You'll get fewer right around the late 90s, right? Meanwhile, if you're down to 40 and you have to climb to 70, you're going to climb to 70 really easily with very few bots, but the rest is going to be sweaty. The idea is that once you've hit Infinite, that sets your benchmark and then you're fine from there. That is my gut feeling what's going to happen, and at this point in the season, they've basically removed most bots from the pre-Infinite pool, so you're playing more real games, which makes it harder and makes it swingier, and you have to play consistent and extremely disciplined. Stuff asks if every nerf is reversed, what's the strongest deck? Now, so if you're interested in a really, really long answer, Lambie, the greatest player in the history of the game, came on our podcast right around New Year's Eve, right around either late December or early January. You can check it out. And we went over what the best deck in the history of Snap would be if everything was unnerved. The determination we made was original Loki. Loki as a 3/5 can basically abuse everything else and should be the best deck in the history of Marvel Snap. Now, the closest contender, the one that might be better, is original Zabu. Zabu was a 3/2 that made 2 -4s and could lock the board with Spider-Man. Pedro Delojo asks what collection complete and variant complete mean. So anyone who's curious, collection complete means you have every card. Variant complete means you have every card and every variant. To the best of my knowledge, there's only one person who's really variant complete. That is our friend Super Tech God. Hey Ken, hope you're watching. Super Tech God has every variant except one in the game. Sorry to bring it up. I know it hurts when it does. I don't know if anyone else does, but many people are either variant complete or close to variant complete. Many people are available variant complete, which means they have every rare and super rare, but not every bundle variant or otherwise obtainable cosmetic. Being collection complete just means having every card. You can check if you're variant complete if you open your shop and see any variants there, right? Then you're not variant complete. If you're collection complete, if you want to check, just use the Marvel Snap Zone tracker or one of the other trackers, and they will keep track of your collection for you and tell you what you don't have. Fire Troll asks what state I'm in and what state I'd move to if I had to. I'm in New York. I've been in New York my whole life. I don't think I'd move anywhere else in the country. I guess potentially Connecticut because it's right here, but it's real unlikely. I'd be very unhappy. The logic I've always had is people don't move from New York. People move to New York. People come to be here because this is the place to be. If I leave, I'm probably leaving the country to go live in Colombia with my wife, where she's from. All right, if you'd like your questions read out in tomorrow's video, leave one in the comments. KM Worst. I know that's not KM Best. It's a different player. The name's obviously a play on KM Best, but he is a consistent top 100 player who is top 30. I know we haven't talked about the top 20 decks. We still have 2 top 20 decks, I promise. He hit top 30 with this list. This is a really cool list that is largely obtainable with cards available literally right now for the most part. So I think this is really cool. It's also a really great Lady Deathstrike list, which doesn't have a Nihilist, which I thought many of you would find interesting. All right, so Jeff can be Lizard or Scarlet Witch. See how there's no Professor X? If there's no Professor X, then Jeff is usually okay being replaced with another good stat stick. I also really like Scarlet Witch right now, or Legion as the case may be, because tons and tons of decks are playing Magic, and there are free cubes out there just waiting for you by canceling that Limbo. Could be Storm, you get the idea. Ms. Marvel can be Omega Red, but ouch, Ms. Marvel is actually more important in this deck than the previous deck. Zemo and Gladiator are required. Excuse me. Deathstrike can be Shang or Valky, and Red Hulk can always be Magneto, but at this point you should probably just get Red Hulk. Alright, so turn 1 Nightcrawler, turn 2 Medusa over Maximus. Maximus goes up if you're sure you're going to play Sandman, and that's better than Jeff. The reason you really like to save Jeff is because your last turn can be Ms. Marvel and Jeff, which is 6 energy, and Jeff goes through the Sandman limitation. Turn 3, generally speaking, Gladiator over Zemo. Turn 4, Ms. Marvel plus Jessica Jones is better. Ms. Marvel or Jessica Jones are better than Gladiator, better than Zemo. Turn 5, Sandman, later Deathstrike, or you can do a turn 4 thing, or you could even do your Zemo and Medusa type play here for a decent amount of power. Zemo and Maximus, Zemo and Jeff. And turn 6 is Doom, Red Hulk, or a 4 plus Jeff. You'd really like that 4 to be Ms. Marvel. Jessica Jones on the last turn. Don't do shit. Quick look. This is the list. It's really good. It's really strong. It's really, really straightforward. So if you're finding yourselves facing a lot of decision paralysis and have access to this list, please do give it a try. I don't think you'll be disappointed. All right. Feedback request. This is how you win the season pass on this video. So I asked you what you wanted to see more or less of in videos from a lot of in yesterday's video. That's how you won in, I guess, not yesterday, in Friday's video. So the answers that I got most commonly were the following. So people want to see data mine info, spotlight cache info, meta Mondays, matchup info, gameplay videos, / a Twitch, and deck roundups. Let's quickly discuss, and then you tell me what you'd like to see. So the big question I have, I think the major thing is, would it be okay with you all if once a week I did either 1 or 2 decks instead of my usual 3 or 4 decks, and it took a day to do either a full spotlight cache guide for upcoming spotlight caches, a full data mine guide whenever the patch drops, a full overlook of the meta and what beats meta decks, all that kind of stuff. If that's okay with you, I would happily do that. I'd also like to add once a week or so. I don't know how many of you are on Twitch or how many of you read the article on Marvel Snap Zone, but Glenn Jones is always out there answering players' questions. I could give you important updates about Glenn Jones' answers to community questions as well. That'll help you have a better idea with analysis of where the meta is going. If you'd like me to do that once a week, I am perfectly willing to. Please let me know in the comments if you think that's fine. You'll get 1 to 2 less decks a week. It wouldn't be anything like completely insane, and you're still getting, I don't know, 6 times as many decks from me as you do any other content creator. You're getting more decks in a week from me than you do for most content creators in a day than you do for most content creators in a week. Let's be honest at this point. No disrespect to others. It's just that's what we do here, right? As far as gameplay videos in a Twitch, I don't have time. I love my wife. I love my kid, and that would take too much time away from them. But what I have happening is at least our friends Tucker and Savage Yeti are going to, over on their Twitches, take decks from a day's videos. We'll see what day that is. I'll let you know when it's happening. Take decks from a day's video, play it on their stream, and then that night they will, or the next morning, they will release a YouTube video with gameplay and breakdown of the videos from the Snap Judgments video that day. Does that sound good to you? Is that something you would like support? Would you go watch our friends Tucker and Yeti for that kind of content? If so, again, please let me know in the comments. If no, I don't want that. If it's not you, leave me alone. That's fine, but I'd like to let me know so I don't waste these people's time. I just think it's a great way to you guys hopefully find value in this content. Seemingly you do, right? We're growing, people leave positive feedback, etc. I can provide the same value, and then if the extra thing you want is this, would you be willing to go to them to find that? Cool. Let me know, and that'll get you the pass for the next day. All right. In case of emergency bundle, this is a good bundle. Not a great bundle, but a good bundle. This is one of the best they've released recently. $30, 3,000 tokens. It also just comes with the Spider-Woman. However, major caveat. Let's double this. $60, 6,000 tokens. Cool. So that means the Spider-Woman variant is worth about $10 because there is currently a 4U bundle for about $50 that comes with 6,000 tokens. I'd rather spend that than buy this, personally. If I was looking for a new card, I'd rather just spend the $50 and be able to get the new card and not have this variant. If you really like this variant, get this instead. But if not, then keep an eye out for that 4U bundle of $50 for 6,000 tokens. All good? All right, our first top 20 deck is our friend Miley. Miley has this mill deck. Miley just got Baron Zemo and is currently playing this really cool mill deck. It's nothing completely out of the ordinary. What it is a mill combined with tech. It's a tech mill, which I think is pretty freaking cool. You can find Miley at twitter.com/Miley, 3 E's with a C. I don't think anything is replaceable here. I'm sorry to be rude. I don't want to be, but I don't think, like, Gladiator and Zemo and Kate are a package at this point with Cable and Yondu. And then Red Hulk, you have to have the biggest thing for this. You cannot replace Red Hulk with Magneto. Those are the only high series cards here, though. So, like, at least you have that. Win cons. You can steal cards and break combos. If you're playing a Phoenix Force deck, for example, your Yondu, Gladiator, etc., can just beat them immediately. You can win with Magic Dr. Octopus to get rid of resources. So if you've gotten rid of their deck and then they have no hand, then you've basically won, right? Because you've got all the tech cards to answer that. Next up, you can win on points with cards like Zemo and Absorbent Man. They can generate so much points against decks that don't run a really low curve that you can just win. You'll know what decks give you that opportunity. And lastly, stats and tech. Cards like Dr. Octopus are ahead of rate for their stats. Red Hulk is super huge, and you combine these ahead of rate stats. Zemo gives you ahead of rate stats. Gladiator gives you ahead of rate stats with some tech cards, and you should be able to win games of Snap. All right, so this is the deck that is currently ranked 19. Miley has been climbing. He was ranked like 5 or 6 with a Loki deck, and then the Loki stopped working because Loki decks got complicated again, and now he climbed back to rank 19 with this list. So turn 1 Yondu, turn 2 Cable is generally better than Yondu, is better than Maximus. You only Maximus if you're going to be getting rid of their deck basically immediately and going to be playing Dr. Octopus. If not, don't bother. Turn 3, Gladiator or Zemo. If you're going to play both, I prefer to play Gladiator first. If you're not going to play both, Zemo is fine. Turn 4, Abs on Zemo or Zemo after Glad. Or Magic if Dr. Octopus. Cool. Turn 5, Dr. Octopus or Magic and a 2 or Tech. I tend to not like to Magic on 5. I'd really like to Magic only if I'm going to Dr. Octopus on turn 5, but things happen. Turn 6, Dr. Octopus, Red Hulk or Tech. And turn 7, Red Hulk or Tech. Don't play Dr. Octopus anymore unless their hand is empty. And that's how you win with this beauty of a deck. It's really simple, it's really straightforward, and it's really powerful. This is one of my favorite versions of the mill deck because just saying I have an answer. I played this for like 4 games. I didn't have a lot of time at this exact moment, but I played this for like 4 games to make sure I could understand it and how it worked. And one of the games I did a Shang-Chi on turn 6 and then an Absorbing Man and a Maximus on turn 7, and that won me the game. And like there's just a lot of plays like that where you can just find ways to win. All right. Tomorrow we're doing Snap Judgments League gameplay, so we're not going to be able to do the last chance review for Red Guardian. Red Guardian is, to me, a skip as a Series 5 card. He would be a get as a Series 4 card. If you have an abundance of resources, obviously feel free to get him. If you need Death Strike, it's still going to be absolutely borderline. I think you can lean get him, but but he's not required. And if you need High Evolutionary, absolutely open for both. He is a skip largely because as a tech card, he is not a Shang-Chi / Cosmo / Shang-Chi, Cosmo, and Mobius are all tech cards that are irreplaceable. There's no other card in Marvel Snap that does what those 3 do, right? Instead, there are tech cards that are like Enchantress and Rogue or Legion and Scarlet Witch or Magic or Storm, etc. Red Guardian is that type of tech card where you can replace him with another tech card. A lot of the times, unless you're running Red Hulk, unless you're trying to like close with him, you can replace him with a card like Shadow King. They do different things slightly at different times. There's times where Guardian is better, there's times Shadow King is better. It's fine, but he is not an absolute requirement. He is very good, but not a requirement. He's going to consistently be in decks and mostly be replaceable in them. So if you're resource limited, if you're not a big spender, I think this is a skip. All right. This is Dickens Butt Tempo. This is made by Jimmy Dickens and a player named Butt. I didn't name him, don't ask me. But this deck is completely wild. Whenever I go into a top player stream, whether it be Woody, whether it be Gnome, they're trying out this deck because it just wins. Pixie is nutty. This doesn't even bother with Coulson. Did I say the right name? Yeah. No, I didn't say the right name. This doesn't even bother with Mobius. So it's especially cool in that it has a lot of ways to win. I don't know about you, but I'm seeing a ton of Sentry, and you can beat Sentry either by Annihilus or Professor X. This has both options. All these cards end up making Mockingbird cheap, which is one of the main ways to play this. You've got Mysterio, you've got the Demon, you've got the Debris Rocks. and you've got the Void, all of which make Mockingbird cheaper, and just general incidental shit. Nico has 1,000 things to blow up, whether it be Yellow Jacket, whether it be Hood, whether it be Pixie, whether it be a Mysterio clone, to draw cards, to turn into demons, whatever. Yellow Jacket can pull Sentry under Shang-Chi range, or make a Mysterio clone or a Rock be sent across with a Nihilus. There's just a million different plays to this deck. So Jimmy Dickens and Butt are both top ladder players. I'll show you Butt's rank momentarily. Jeff can be Mobius or a tempo card like Medusa. This needs Cannonball and Mockingbird. Those are the required cards. The two of the three best cards of last season was just nutty. Hope, Cannonball, and Mockingbird are all just meta staples at this point. You can try Deathstrike or Valkyrie for a Nihilus. I think you lose a bit, but not as much as you would think. Nico is important, but something like Ant-Man or Nightcrawler will do just fine. So, I think it's pretty cool that you only really need 2 high series cards for this. So this was, as of last check, the rank 17 deck in Marvel Snap. Turn 1 Hood, turn 2 Pixie over Mysterio over Jeff, turn 3 Debris or 2 or Mockingbird, turn 3 Sentry or Mockingbird, turn 4 Sentry or Mockingbird, turn 5 Professor X or Annie with Yellow Jacket, turn 6 is generally speaking Cannibal. It's also sometimes that Annihilus. And that's how you win with it. It's really simple. Obviously, the second you play Pixie, the rest of the play pattern goes out the window, because Pixie will say everything costs a weird amount, and there's nothing you can do about it. But this deck does run a 0, 2 1s, 3 2s, and a 3 that can hopefully switch with your more expensive cards. I'm really excited for when they make Pixie a 1-drop, which, fingers crossed, is actually happening. All right, certain tiers of support on our Patreon come with on-air thanks. Please check out our Patreon. We did a giant exclusive podcast analyzing the state of Marvel Snap over there, and we have a weekly video and all sorts of, like, you get your decks a day early and also so much more over on the Patreon. Check it out. Also, the $1 tier gives you access to our tournament, including the biggest league in Marvel Snap, the Snap Judgments League. All right. Thank you to Abigail Kieslin, Mandatory Burnout, Cables, David G. Wingfield, Direwolf, LAB, Fathor Newman, who you absolutely need to check out on YouTube, Good Dog Gamer, Inc., Jane Everett, who just hit Infinite, again, congrats, Jade McDonaldino, who never Twitch streams, but should more, Kier Tixley, Koi Ray, Pyrophoros. Oh, Koi Ray built us something cool recently that I really have to find time to show off. The Goat Seeker, Denman Falcon, check him out on YouTube, Doku, Philip Ratkovich, awesome person, Haplo, Kenny Loggins of the Danger Zone, Rob Silverman, Juan Diego Lebed, The Bizza, X-Force V, Skippy G, Tommy Nyquist, Black Dahlia, The Great Kazoo, Jessica Gamble, Ryan Wood, Kev Hoda, Luna Chris, welcome to the group, Luna Chris, thank you so much for your support, Mod Supreme Models, Spectrumix, Hoot, Matt H, DJ Mikey Hijinks, No Flex, Ocularis, Craig Sterry, Pretty Chill, Seamus, Spike Jones, check him out on YouTube, Two Ties, The Pirate King Tucker, who will be doing videos for us, assuming that's something you guys actually want, The Homie Min, Rito in Disguise on Twitch, and of course Gunny T, where the T stands for these tournaments are popping off. Check out tomorrow, don't miss out, because we got some tourney news. See you tomorrow for another Snap Take. Said check out the Patreon, so if you didn't hit that sub, hopefully you do. I appreciate all of you, love all of you, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.